Hey Tex, how's everything going? Just wanted to actually do this video and this little project here, well, mini project that I'm sure it's been done before. Never actually done it myself, and I do actually have the old ancient hardware for it, so I might as well just go ahead and give it a shot. Got here a little netbook, and actually I have another netbook right over here, and this one's actually seen some better days. Belong to a family member. Ooh, that's a really bad crack right up there. Same brand as this little blue one here. This one's actually one that I used myself for a brief amount of time. Actually, I believe I did actually use it for work prior. And I was actually using it for, if I recall, let's see, I think I was using this particular device to be a little more mobile. Hooked up one of those like symbol zebra barcode scanners, Motorola, whatever brand it was, to basically scan a bunch of items. I think in this case, computer hardware, monitors, computers themselves. Very long time ago, and obviously going from different location to location with a barcode scanner and a huge laptop was not really ideal. Of course, this was before smartphones really took off. Otherwise, that would have been a lot easier. But I did actually use this little netbook to hook up a scanner, handheld scanner to it, or hands-free, whichever you prefer to call it, and actually use it to scan everything to an Excel spreadsheet, which was really useful, made my life a lot easier. These netbooks, obviously in many people's opinion, weren't too successful, but did actually do its job, and I did get this little netbook for pretty cheap. But you know, with once Windows 7's reign was moving along, Windows 8 came out, and then Windows 10, this particular device really wasn't too useful. Actually, this originally came with XP Starter, if I recall. One of the worst operating systems I've seen, in my opinion, next to, well, I mean, okay, that's not to say worse, one of the most useless. You were only allowed 1 gig of RAM, some other miscellaneous junk. Obviously, as many other people did, I wiped it out, put XP Pro on it, and then eventually Windows 7 on it as well too. As you see, it's still running it right now. So, can it run Windows 10? Now you're probably wondering why I mentioned two netbooks here. Well, very simple. This one here is running its 250 gigabyte hard drive, mechanical hard drive, I believe, if I recall. And this one over here had an SSD upgrade some time back, so it's actually has an SSD, makes things a little speedier, and but you know, don't get your hopes up. It made a difference, just not something realistic. Both of them were upgraded to 2 gigs of RAM, the maximum that these devices could actually use, which is unfortunate. Any more than 2 gigs, like 4 at least, would be a little more useful. But I want to actually go ahead and see how this device would actually fare with Windows 10. Definitely a funny little thing to actually see working. And we'll actually see, just to show you again, this is actually also an Asus brand netbook. I believe Asus made many of these in many different colors. So I do have my Windows 10 thumb drive in here. Now I'm actually not going to boot it up straight out. And the reason is because obviously this hardware is pretty old, dates back to like even before 2010. And obviously does not have the UEFI BIOS option in its BIOS setup. So booting up from a thumb drive with Windows 10 in it may actually give an issue. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do an upgrade option here, and we'll see where this goes. Oh, there you go. Up. Now, of course, the other issue that this freaking thing has is that the battery connection is not too solid. You just see here the screen just dimmed. Now it's bright. Though personally, I think you guys can actually see that a little better. So I'll plug that back in very shortly. Just so, you know, or maybe I'll just change the settings here so the screen actually appears a little better. And get this thing going. So just to be a little more fun as well too, I'm actually going to time this. Got this little stopwatch thing here on this old Galaxy S6, and actually see how long it actually takes for this thing to actually upgrade to Windows 10. I'm actually curious myself. So once this particular device here is done, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this one, which is we'll be using the SSD, and we'll see what is it. There's actually a good time difference between the two of them. And anything else, any other feedback you guys may be curious about this particular thing running Windows 10. Will it be useful? No, I'm just doing it for fun. I don't believe I'll be using this in any sort of everyday work whatsoever. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and open this old thumb drive. I'm just gonna put in this generic Windows 10 installation here. Just gonna go ahead and click on setup. And I'll start timing this thing once the installation is actually underway. And of course, I'll probably definitely, I don't think you guys really want to see this every second for second. I'll definitely go ahead and speed it up. All right, here's the device here. This screen is actually pretty freaking reflective because it's gloss, but just try to rearrange it so it's not too shiny or reflective. And got a little stopwatch here. Right here it's asking if I want to actually download any drivers online. I'm going to say no, obviously, just do straight up upgrade. Right now it's checking blah, 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 blah. Let's see if there's any issues. And over here, obviously, I'm just picking to not keep anything. Just going to be absolutely fresh installation, so to speak. I was expecting this particular thing to come up saying that the video card is actually not compatible, but whatever. I'll just hit confirm. Okay, here's the screen I was looking for. So let's get ready. I'm going to go ahead and start our little timey here. Oop, a little too much on the touchpad right there, and off we go. pretty much hitting the 100-minute mark here. So it's basically over an hour and a half just to get Windows 10 even on this little thing here. And I'm actually glad I'm doing this, because if anyone else was curious about it, this might actually appetite your and completely satisfy your curiosity. I absolutely do not recommend anyone do this, because you can probably tell I was actually just enjoying myself and watching the movie, turning the lights off. Actually, it almost looked like I was taking a nap, but where is pretty much the moment we've been waiting for, and it's taking a good 2 hours at least just to even get this far. In a few minutes, I'll probably just hit that screen. We'll start asking you for some input and continue on to getting Windows 10 up and running. You can tell on this little netbook here by Asus with 2 gigs of RAM, and I believe a 250 gigabyte mechanical hard drive, probably 5400 RPM. About a good 2 hours just to get Windows 10 installed, and wow. I was anticipating maybe a good hour and change. 2 hours, it's nuts. So absolutely, I do not advise anybody to ever actually try to undergo this. And if you do not expect any results that will actually make this machine usable to any particular positive outcome right there. Well, anyway, as promised, let me go ahead and toss this particular netbook here, and let's see how it fares with the Windows 10 installation. Pretty much the same step here. You did notice me readjusting everything. I just wanted to readjust it pretty much here. As you can see, I was fiddling around with this power cable because unfortunately I saw this thing running on battery at some point. Right now it is running on power. I don't believe that would really that affected the installation time too much, if at all. Consider it was running off battery, and this thing was pretty much at close to 100% anyway, so I wasn't worried about the battery dying. I know this thing can definitely last for some time. It's one good plus about the netbooks, but here we are, and let's get the other one up and running. Well, check it out. So the SSD in this particular netbook here definitely made a big difference. And you can actually tell the other one took about just a little over 2 hours, 120 minutes. And here we are at about the 76-minute mark. And already at the part where in another couple of minutes, you're going to get basically that whole part where you enter your username and set the time, select your keyboard, etc., etc. Windows 10 is pretty much installed, and now just final touch-ups, and I'm about to head over here. So let's just say this took about 76 minutes, as shown here. Go ahead and stop that. Well, this certainly was a couple of interesting hours there installing the operating system on both of them. You can see here both the netbooks are actually off right now. I basically just right after the installation, just let the video card driver install, a couple of little things. I didn't actually let Windows fully do an update and whatnot, and just put the icons on the desktop, your basic stuff. I didn't really do anything else. Connect to Wi-Fi, and that's about it. So let's go ahead and turn this one on over here. This is actually the first netbook here that we actually installed Windows 10 on. I'm going to actually go ahead and turn it on. As I mentioned before, the charger on this device is a little sensitive, so just have to be a little careful here. So let's just see how long this device takes to boot up. You can see it's already booting up now. Now, it actually does look like it's booting up fairly quickly, but bear in mind that Windows 10 does have the option to basically kind of like a sleep power shutdown hybrid kind of mode setup. Basically, it just takes significantly faster to turn back on when it's actually off as opposed to a full restart. And you definitely notice how much longer it's taking here just to get through this particular portion here. And I'm actually going to put my mic towards the netbook here so you can actually hear the old classic mechanical hard drive. Yeah, pretty interesting sounds right there, huh? Well, there it is there with its little Windows background that I picked out. Sorry about the little reflectiveness again. The screen's completely glossy. Just going to go ahead and just navigate through a couple of things here just to give you an idea what the performance of this device actually is. Just clicked on the start button a moment ago. It is definitely a little sluggish. Let me go ahead and go to the task manager. You notice that even that takes a moment to even appear. I'm just going to go ahead and bring up the performance window here. I already got it set to show both cores. You can see here obviously the Atom processor running at 1.6 gigahertz, 2 gigs of RAM, which is already beyond 50% in use. Let me go ahead and open up something here, and how about just Microsoft Word? I gotta tell you, before actually filming this portion of the video, I did actually play with it just a little bit. Didn't really install anything, obviously if you can see it, install any additional browsers, and I did actually open up 1 or 2 Office programs, but on the other netbook with the SSD, this is actually the first time I'm opening it up here, and you can see that if I were to actually have been using this for work to scan barcodes and stuff using a little scanner, wouldn't be really productive at all. I'd probably be much better off these days now using like a hybrid tablet, laptop tablet, basically the foldable screen. Those actually would work significantly better, particularly since I've actually had my hands on quite a few of them, the Surface tablets especially. Well, it almost took like a whole minute to actually get Office to even open. You can actually see down here now it's asking me for Windows updates and all that jazz. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, see how long it takes to close, which is funny. Okay. Pretty interesting subpar performance over here, and don't expect it to get any better. I will admit, if I was able to put 4 gigs of RAM onto this thing, it definitely would work a whole lot better. Memory is probably one of the best upgrades you could do to any computer and laptop, but this thing's obviously bottled down to only 2 gigabytes of RAM. They actually didn't even want you to even do that back then. What am I planning to do with this netbook? I don't know. Maybe I'll just toss Windows 7 back on it and just use it for any old thing. Who knows what. So let's go ahead and give this one a shot now. I left the other netbook on, but let's go ahead and turn on this one over here. Here is an netbook with an SSD installed. Sorry if the other netbook is making some noise. Obviously, a mechanical hard drive is loud. Let me just move it out of here. You'll definitely see the starter process on this one quite a bit faster. Let me go ahead and just lower the brightness because obviously it's causing an issue here. Or, I mean, it probably could. There we go. Be able to see it a little better. Obviously, it does struggle with this portion of the startup process, which is pretty understandable. But you see, not so bad. You know, definitely not the worst. And got the same amount of icons here, connected to Wi-Fi. It's plugged in. Let's go ahead and open up Start menu. Definitely opened up quite a bit faster. I'm going to go ahead and bring up Task Manager. And open up in pretty much more reasonable amount of time, though obviously the process is itself taking a while. You'll see here on the performance, 2 cores. Same thing again, the Atom CPU, and just about 50% memory being used at the moment. So now let's go ahead and open up Microsoft Word yet again. And there's your notification for Windows updates. Here definitely quite a bit faster than on the other netbook. And here is Word loading up in a fairly not so useful amount of time, but definitely much faster than the other one. So I already actually opened up Microsoft Word on this. You don't see all that privacy policy, you know, EULA, and all the terms of conditions of agreement to use this software, etc. And you'll see here that not so bad to some degree. Well, I really can't say that Windows 10 is actually useful in Netbook whatsoever. Let me see if I can actually even open up some your most basic internet browser here. Edge is actually not installed on here, so the only browser there is Internet Explorer. And you know what? All right. Actually opened up in a decent amount of time. Can't complain. So there you go. Windows 10 running on some netbooks over here, and both in a mechanical hard drive and also a solid state drive setup here. These are the earlier netbook classes, by the way, you know, 1 gigabyte of RAM, the 1.67 Atom CPU. I do know there were faster ones, and even some netbooks had the option eventually for 4 gigabytes, which is pretty much where netbooks began to just slowly disappear and just become not so popular. For some time, they actually did appear like they were going to actually be pretty useful, and they actually were in their own way. I mean, you can see that I got my hands on one, another family member got their hands on one as well too. But, and actually I do have another one, a Samsung one actually, that one of my cousins bought around the same time that these little netbooks were purchased as well too, maybe a good year later or so. And obviously she no longer uses it. So that netbook, same thing as these. I think maybe the CPU is just a little bit better, but really not much better off than these two devices. So anyway, let me know what you think about this. If you actually ever try to pursue such a goofy project here with the netbooks, I would like to know your experience with it. It's definitely not something that would make these pieces of hardware any more useful, or definitely less useless than they already are now. I actually don't even know what to do with these. I'm probably just going to keep them just as an old piece of memento. It's kind of like an old 3DFX Voodoo card, video card that I actually have. And it actually still works, but I don't even have a computer that can use it anymore because it's an old AGP slot. I'll probably just keep these for historical value. Who knows, maybe one day I can put a little future storage device in here that would make these things work really well. That's going to be a funny joke, but you never know. I've actually even had an SSD put on an old Pentium 3 computer, and well, even that made a difference, just for fun. Maybe one day I'll actually do a goofy video on some old retro computers, and I actually still even have my very first computer, older than these two things. Anyway, shoot a like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Got any funny questions, or even a suggestion for me to run a program here besides Crisis, because that's not even going to work. I can totally see these little things running Doom, or some old game like that, Wolfenstein 3D. Anyway, guys, hope this was enjoyable, maybe a little bit educational. Stay tech safe out there. Bye.